Today is a good day. Just got a shipment in from Fox, and any day you get a delivery from a company like Fox Racing, it's just going to be a good day. And especially when it's a helmet, man, that's as good as it gets. I'm a huge helmet fan, and Fox, I think, in my opinion, they make the coolest helmets when it comes to visor helmets, you know, for motocross, supercross, BMX, mountain biking, that kind of stuff. If we're talking car racing, I might say the Schubert Formula One helmets are the coolest, and sport bike, MotoGP, maybe AGV, especially the old GP tech that Rossi would wear back in the late 2000s. It's like that was the coolest street bike helmet. But we're talking mountain biking helmets today, and we got a Fox Rampage Pro Carbon. This is the premium Fox mountain bike helmet. It's geared toward downhill riding, so it is full face, kind of like a moto style. And I'm curious because I'm a huge Fox helmet fan, obviously, and I have a couple of my old early 2000s era motocross helmets from Fox just to kind of compare. I'm curious to see, you know, how much this thing weighs compared to these old moto helmets, and just kind of see how it goes. So let's open this thing up. Moment of truth, I guess. Kind of comes in a cool matte black cardboard box. Fox always does cool stuff like that, even with the boxes, right? So here we go. It comes with a helmet bag, which is awesome. I don't know if most helmets come with helmet bags these days, but I know, pretty sure back in the early 2000s, it's like when you bought a motocross helmet, it's like you had to go buy a bag separately if you wanted a decent bag. But this thing comes with a helmet, and it's about time, right? These things are just so expensive anyway, and you're gonna get one if you want to keep it nice. So looks like it does have a little compartment here, pocket on the side with a zipper. Probably more a glove compartment than goggles. It's like maybe you could fit goggles in there as well, but yeah, I don't know. It'd be kind of pressed up against the helmet there, so you'd have to kind of squeeze your goggles in. And if you have nice goggles, you might be a little worried about that, but they could probably fit. I'll see later, I guess. So always cool logo on the side. Now the real moment of truth. Let's unzip. Yeah, it looks like I thought it was just going to be visible in the bag there, but looks like we got a little microfiber cloth, which I don't know if you'd really keep this or if it's just a throwaway. But here we go. There it is. Looks like it comes with the instruction manual, which what is in there, I have no idea. No idea at all. Alrighty. So sizing I'm curious about. I got a extra large, which I usually wear a large. So I'm a little worried if this thing's gonna fit or not, but let's talk about a few other things on the outside first. Well, first of all, I was curious, how much does this thing weigh? Because I know motocross helmets have been getting lighter and lighter. And actually, I would say in my hands, these feel about the same, honestly. An early 2000s motorcycle, motocross helmet and a mountain bike helmet, 2020 mountain bike helmet, they feel in my hands like they're kind of the same weight, which is kind of surprising to me. Like I said, I thought motocross helmets were getting lighter and lighter to where they hardly weigh anything. And then mountain bike helmets are usually even lighter than that, just because you're not going as fast. You don't need quite the same protection. They're kind of designed differently, designed for kind of little different type of impacts, as well as obviously slower impacts than when you're on a motorcycle. So that's kind of surprising to me, but hey, you know what? It's like, typically, this thing doesn't really bother me or my neck when it's on my head. And heavier means more protection, then it's probably a good thing, right? So yeah, I'm a little surprised, but in both hands now, this thing doesn't feel like it weighs much at all. I've always loved the Fox shape for helmets. You know, I've always loved the motocross. I mean, this thing's the early 2000s, the old Pilot, Ricky Carmichael replica. This thing turned into the V3 now, which was just recently upgraded along with this thing. They look very similar, the V3 and the Rampage Pro Carbon now. But you know, the shape, although it's very different, you know, they kind of went with more of a bell back end with kind of the exhaust vents, where it's, you know, like literally a step down, and then you kind of got the angle to yet another step down with more exhaust vents down by the neck. And I don't know if Bell definitely has kind of those steps, but I don't know if this is unique to Fox, where they have this little cutout that's for the back of your neck, and it's basically to be compatible with neck braces, which I know mountain bikers are wearing. I see them at the bike park. If they have mountain bikes, some guys wear neck braces, and motocross guys still wear neck braces. At least some of them do. It's kind of a controversial protection piece of equipment that not everybody agrees on, but if you do wear a neck brace, this thing's supposed to be kind of compatible with that, where you're not going to be constantly hitting it and fighting with it. It's kind of cut out for that. But yeah, the shape of Fox helmets, I mean, I've always loved the flat top kind of, and the chin vent, always that little hole. It kind of looks like the Scream mask almost, where it's like this kind of mean looking. This thing was called the Pilot, and it always reminded me of kind of like a fighter pilot for some reason. And they've kind of retained that look with the new helmets. Although this thing is much wider, which in some ways it looks meaner, but some of it is maybe a little too progressive and a little too fashion forward, if you will, I guess. You know, this cutout with these vents and stuff, it's pretty extreme, but that's something I wanted. You know, riding a bike, if you're mountain biking, it's like you're gonna be pedaling and you're gonna be breathing hard. Not that you don't breathe really hard in motocross as well, but you know, obviously this thing, you start to get that feeling like it's this little breath box that's like a little too, it's like wearing a mask for COVID-19 or something, right? Where this, I mean, you can kind of see my fingers in there. These things are wide open. I mean, like wide open to skin. I don't know if you can see that, but these things are wide open. The vents on the top are not wide open. Like, you're not going to just look down into my hair when I have it on. It's just open. A lot of vents, but open to just the liner and the pads. Cool features on this thing would be the Magnetic Visor Release System, which is 3 magnets, I think, back here. Let's see if I can get this to pull the visor off. It's literally just, yeah, there we go. I got one of them, 2, and then the front one looks like it's more serious. Don't want to break the visor, so it's obviously not like, oh, there we go. It was easy once I got the right angle. So that's kind of cool. I mean, it's cool to be able to change that out quickly. If you drop your helmet or something and crack the visor and you want to order a replacement, you can do that for fairly cheap, I think, and then just pop a new one on. Not have to get a screwdriver out. But the idea behind it is more of a safety feature, where visors, you know, can act. Put this thing back on. See how easy that is. There we go. Some good snaps. I think it's back on. Yep. So the idea is, you know, a visor, if you crash, it can almost act, once you take a dig with your head in the dirt, the visor can kind of act as like almost a lever against your neck. And also, if you go straight into the dirt and this thing's screwed on and rock solid and doesn't break, if you go straight on, there's kind of a single point of impact, which will kind of move, and all the force will be kind of somewhere out here, and it kind of changes the dynamics of the safety features of the helmet. So having this just magnetic and kind of easy to break away, no screws or anything, once you crash, breaks away, to kind of maybe save yourself from a strange injury where the visor acted as some sort of lever or single point of force on your head. So that's kind of cool. And then the big thing with this helmet is this thing's like cutting edge as far as this fluid inside technology. So it comes with a little sample pad on the tag here, which is kind of interesting. But basically, I only did some brief reading up on this thing, but it's I think it was developed in Canada in a university, a doctor, and did a bunch of studies. And basically there's these little pads in there with fluid inside, and they're all in between the liner and the helmet shell. And so the idea is to kind of mimic your cerebral spinal fluid that you kind of already have naturally around your brain. So if you do hit your head, and it kind of helps protect and helps protect you from the impact or the blow, I guess. And so they're trying to mimic that with this, and it's really all about rotational impact. So typically the old helmets, it's like you have the hard shell, and then you have foam and different types of kind of foam layers in there in between the hard shell, the liner, and your head. Where this, with these fluid inside pods, it's basically designed to, instead of just directional or linear impact to your head, a lot of times when you crash, it's kind of a rotational, you fall and you rotate somehow, onto the ground, where that's usually how it goes. And so the idea is, I don't know if you can see that, but it's like, I don't know if I can even really do it with my finger. Honestly, this kind of feels just like a little foam pad you'd put on the bottom of your chair in the kitchen, on the kitchen floor, kind of a thing, to protect the floor. But basically, the idea is with the fluid inside in these pods, it kind of moves side to side for those rotational impacts, and kind of acts like your cerebral spinal fluid that you have inside your head. So, the second moment of truth is putting it on. The sizing, like I said, I went with a extra large because people were saying size up. This thing's small, so I'm worried about it. So here we go. Okay. Yeah, it's definitely snug. So typically, like the old helmets, motocross helmets, I was wearing a large. I'm a size 60 centimeter. So when I go out and buy hats, I usually look for a 60 centimeter hat. The range large for this was also, the max was 60, and then the extra large, which I ended up getting, is 61 to 62 centimeters, I think. And so I was a little worried about it, like, is this going to be too big? But everybody was saying this thing's a little small, it runs small, size up. And I definitely agree when I have it on. This thing is pretty snug. It's like, I don't even have it strapped, and it feels snug. There is no wiggle. It's not hurting. It just feels like it's almost perfect. So if you're anything bigger than a size 60, this is the biggest size for the Fox Rampage. So I'd almost consider shopping around looking for something else, because this is the biggest frame they have, and it definitely does feel snug. Let's strap it up here. Cool. That feels good. Do a little kind of get different angles for you. It's like I'm riding here, getting kind of the attack position. Do the back of it. I don't know if I'm in frame. There's the top. So it feels good, but yeah, it's definitely snug. I'm glad I went with the extra large. Yeah, and it seems like I'm not getting any of that like tight, restricted breathing feeling that some helmets have. It's you can kind of see, it's like my mouth talking in there. This thing is just wide open. There's a lot of airflow to my mouth, and of course, mountain bike helmets are kind of designed different too, where they naturally, the chin guard, or I'm a huge helmet fan, but I don't really know what this thing's called, the face mask or the chin guard, I don't know. But on mountain biking helmets, they kind of sit lower, So it's like you look straight on, and it's like almost like you can see my mouth. Where in motocross, they're typically sitting where it's like you can't see the mouth at all straight on. But you know, obviously I've had to rotate the helmet back, and this is not proper fitting at all. It's way back on my head. So mountain bike helmets, you know, it makes sense because motorcycles, it's like you get roosted and your teeth get knocked out, where it's not really an issue in mountain biking, and you're kind of typically going downhill more, so it's maybe pointed down more, and it's also for breathing. I don't know all the reasons why they design it a little differently that way, but it feels like it's going to be good for biking, and I'm excited. I think it will look cool. I'll have to go check it out in more detail, but yeah, like I said, I'm always a huge fan of the Fox shape helmets, and this thing is a little pricey, but that might be the only downside. Let's take it off here, see how it goes. Okay, that was maybe downside number 2. This thing is definitely snug. That was kind of painful, like more painful than my large. So this is extra large, and it was more painful to take off than my large old motorcycle helmet. This thing, it was all down here. I think this thing's just a little tight, so it fits snug on your head. There was no wiggle even without it strapped, but yeah, this thing is kind of a pain to take off, so that's unfortunate, but those are maybe the only 2 downsides. This thing, I think, as far as I could tell, it's definitely the best downhill mountain biking helmet on the market. Just looks coolest, has the fluid inside technology, so probably the safest based on the studies, it sounds like, and lots of airflow. Cool color, the matte black looks cool. Probably put some stickers on it and stuff, kind of make it my own, but we'll see. It looks cool, just matte black as well. So give it one more rotation, and that's about all I have to say about it, I guess. So thanks for watching. Check this thing out.